My name is Peter. I'm the founder and MD of Trustpilot. I am here today to talk about the power of a good online review strategy. I think reviews are becoming more and more used and more trusted by the ordinary consumer, and most companies, they have no idea what to do with it. How do you reply to a good review, to a bad review? How do you make your customers leave reviews of your service? And if you do have good reviews, how do you show them to potential customers? You can get some pretty significant conversion increases if you do it right. You can also lose a lot of money if you do it wrong. So we're going to tell you the right way today. So I'm the founder of Trustpilot, and it's a company I built 4 years ago. And we're now Europe's largest site for reviews of online merchants. We recently got a £3 million investment, so now we're like hiring 2 people a week. Hopefully set to become like the biggest in the world soon. We have 5.5 million reviews of about 90,000 merchants. It's quite a lot if you think about it. And customers in around 15 countries. What we're going to talk about today is how online merchants should use reviews to make more money. It's going to be a lot of numbers, a lot of tests, and some hands-on advice that's hopefully very, very easy to implement. And what this covers is it's reviews in Google, it's reviews in social media, it's reviews integrated on the website, it's how to collect the reviews, and it's also like what to do when people leave negative reviews of a company, because in the end they will. So just a small introduction with customer reviews is that this is really very, very basic. Which one of these companies would you choose? We have the one company with about 500 amazing reviews, and we have another company with 1,500 very poor reviews. It's not more difficult than that, really. And Mark Zuckerberg, he said that the greatest tendency in this decade will be increased transparency. And we see that reviews are moving from not just merchants selling digital cameras to affecting any company that's out there. We just got an undertaker as a customer recently. He wanted to promote his funeral service through amazing customer reviews. We're seeing unions, workers' unions, use this to say, why should you use like our union, not just the other? Well, we have better customer service, we do more for you. It's insurance companies, it's mobile phone subscribers, it's really everything with a web presence. So I think the trend is that in 5 years' time, every single company will be dependent on what their customers are writing about them on the web. Another thing that's happening while reviews are increasingly being used is also that they are increasingly being trusted. And this is probably something to do with Facebook and Twitter and use of social media, that people are used to writing stuff on the web to their friends, and they're also used to reading what their friends are writing. So with reviews, you can actually achieve the same level of trust as a branded website. And in a 2-year period, while this study was being done, the trust in reviews increased with 15%. So that people now trust what they read on a page like mine more than they trust what they read in the newspaper. That's fairly significant. This is done by Nielsen, very well-known survey, 50,000 people in 25 countries. So if we look at this from a merchant's perspective, right? Many people I talk to, they like to see the sales funnel like this, that people start in Google, then they come to the website, they put some items in the basket, and then they buy. But in reality, it's probably more looking like this, that they still start in Google, they come to the site, but then they check out a product on a price comparison site, they see like what are the friends saying on Facebook, what's written about you on Twitter, what's on other review sites, then their grandmother is calling and they're talking for 15 minutes, they come back to your site the day after, and then maybe they buy if they liked what they found out here. So really you need to think about reviews in all these places, because that's all the places where your customers are checking your service. In Google, on your site, price comparison sites, on review sites, and social media, and then again on your site. So we start with Google. Is everybody here have seen the small 5-star ratings? And I see them, they started I think a year and a half ago, and some people started using them, and within the last 6 months we've really seen an explosion in the use and demand of the star ratings. They're popping up everywhere. If you're not using them, you're not in the game. Think about it again, like one of the first slides. Which one of these would you click on? The one with the 5 stars or the one without the 5 stars? It really makes it easy. And plus you get an extra line of attention here, which is really like in Google. That's like getting blood from a rock, right? So the impact of these reviews, there are different tests out there, and they swing a lot depending on what you're selling, how well a known brand are you already. But there's the blog that you should see that's linked to at the bottom. And what this says is that you get a pretty significant increase in the click-through and in the conversion if you put 5 stars in your Google ads. What it also says is that this effect is strongest when you're the only one doing it. So if your competitors are doing this and you're not, then you're losing money. If you do it and they don't, then you win. If everybody does it, it evens out. So you cannot allow yourself not to be in this game. Also think about the effect a higher click-through rate has on your quality score. You pay less for ads. It's good all the way through. So when people have clicked on your ad in Google, they come to your website. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you integrate the reviews on your site. I have 2 examples here. I have Precious Little One. You can see they've done it in a very, very discreet little manner down here, where the main message is on the items they're selling, and then they have a small little, "You can trust us." There's another example here, where they're more blatantly saying, "We rock, we're the best, this is really why you should buy us." And the key with integrating reviews is that there can be many right ways of doing it. And you have to be careful, not just putting reviews on your site, like boom. Because you can do it in the right way, you can also do it in the wrong way. And what we found is that, first of all, how many is like familiar with A/B split testing? Is everybody's using that, right? Use that, please. Secondly, like, don't compete with your own call to action buttons. The primary focus should still be what are you selling, and people should add this to their basket. The trust is more something behind the scenes, that you're looking at the website and it is perceived as trustworthy. The second is, we've done some testing on it, is that you should link to an external review site from your front page and from your product pages. You can also display the reviews in your checkout process, but in the checkout process it's very important that you don't have any links to any third-party sites. So we've done some tests on this. This is a bike store we work with, where they displayed on their site that they were the highest rated bike store. And we tested 3 examples, one with a clickable version to the reviews on Trustpilot, another that was non-clickable, and a version of their site with no reviews at all. And the clickable one performed a 16% increase in sales. So they went from £1 million in monthly revenue to 1.1 million, 1.16 actually. That's a lot. But on another example, this is an example where they had an external link in the checkout process. So they stopped this test before a conclusion was being made because they could see that it looked like this was hurting their sales. After a few experiments, they found though that by having a very discrete trust factor in the checkout process, not only could they increase conversion, they could also increase basket size with about 5.7%, because it turned out that it was the most expensive orders that were most likely to abandon the cart. So, apart from Google, your own website, we have social media, of course. And even though everybody is using Facebook and everybody knows that 7% of all time spent on the internet is spent on Facebook, I still think people underestimate the use of Facebook. There was a recent study that's from the top one is from the US. The US is usually a little bit ahead, but Facebook is used as much in the UK, I think, as it is in the US. In the US, every 50% of all online shoppers are logged into Facebook while they complete the purchase. So 1 out of 2, so that's a lot. This was a UK study saying that 1/3 of Facebook users proactively do research on Facebook when they consider buying something, whether they consider buying from a merchant or whether they consider, like, is this the right camera? And where do people go when they're in doubt? They stay in Facebook. They go to the merchant's Facebook site. And I think these are very, very high numbers. At least they surprised me. So you need to think about likes and about comments on your wall as if they were reviews. You want to actively collect likes, and you want people to actively talk about you on Facebook, and you want to give them an amazing customer service in Facebook. Another trend we will see is we made this little Facebook application where you can show your customer reviews directly on your Facebook site. So that if people check out your Facebook profile, you can see, oh, these are all the wall posts, but they're usually about some of our products. And this is what people actually think about our service. Generally with this, a tip is that you want people to stay on the platform they already are on. One of the reasons you want to have reviews on your website is that if you don't have the reviews on your site, people will leave your site, go to the big scary internet, and probably end somewhere else. So always keep people in the channel they're already in, otherwise they will enforce it themselves and you will lose them. As a trend of all these social media, I know that I have a history, I have to say, as an online merchant myself. And if there was one thing I hated, it was when a user called Dr. Death wrote something bad about me on some forum somewhere, and I discovered like half a year later. It's so annoying, and you don't know how many people read that, and you don't really know who is it, and you don't know how to fix it. But the advantage of social media is that this is the end of anonymity. So I think the trend we're seeing is that today the anonymous review sites are at their peak. You know them from TripAdvisor, you know them from, could be Review Center. They're popping up everywhere. But if you look at what the consumers and the merchants really want, is they want reviews from real people. So the racing travel recommendation site is now GoGoBot, where they demand that you have a Facebook profile in order to write a review. So there's a real person behind the review. And the beautiful thing about a real person behind the review is that people talk nicer to you when you're a person. And they're not coming with the same amount of sarcastic criticism as they can as anonymous users. I also think that this will, by time, reduce the risk of false negative reviews written by competitors. Because with the rise of very, very personalized reviews, the anonymous reviews will, of course, be a lot less trusted. You want your reviews, or your customers are checking out reviews of your business. And the problem is that if you don't do anything about it, maybe you have 10,000 customers and 2 of them are dissatisfied, and one leaves a 3-star review and one leaves a 1-star review. So you get a very statistically insignificant image of your company out there on the web. And you don't really do the consumer a favor with this model because they get the wrong image of your company based on very, very few reviews. And you don't do yourself a favor because who wants to buy if you only have mediocre reviews? And the solution to this is really surprisingly simple. This is an email just an example email that you can send to customers. And there's not really anything about it. We kept it very, very simple, clear call to action, nothing to distract the users. And we see on average, we get a 10% response rate, which is quite a lot for email marketing. So if we look at the do's and don'ts of inviting customers to leave a review, you want to ask in a way where you ask for feedback. Hey Peter, we hope you're satisfied with your recent purchase. We would really like to know what we did well, but also what we could have done better. Would you please leave a review? Click here. Don't write, hey, we need reviews for marketing. That's really the wrong way to do it. Nobody wants to do that. And you want to keep it as simple as possible for them to leave the review. If you do it in the right way, it's very possible. Don't ever offer rewards for reviews. In the end, somebody will blog about it. It will destroy the reputation that you build up. And of course, you can also try to write a few reviews, but that really also has the chance of becoming a boomerang and destroying your image when it is discovered. A good idea is to try to personalize the review invitation as much as you can. We've seen up to 30% response rates when people add the name, an image of themselves, again, so that you're saying, hey Anthony, I'm a real person. I'd like to know, how did I do? And then Anthony's like, oh Peter, let me tell you, this was good, this was bad, but overall I was very satisfied. A side effect of this is that people will talk to you in a nicer way. So some stats. Let's start down here. If you do not ask your customers to leave a review of your service, you can expect about 1 in 1,000 to go in and write a review about you. For some businesses, it's a higher number, for some it's a lower number, but I think that's the average. So whenever you have 1,000 customers, one of them will leave a review of your company. And most likely that's going to be the dissatisfied customer. If you do invite them, on the other hand, you get a much higher response rate. What we also see is that people do not think a well-written, personalized review invitation is spam. They perceive it as a friendly request to leave feedback. So this is based on more than 10 million review invitations sent. So it's very, very statistically significant. We hardly get any spam reports. Fourth interesting number, when you invite people to leave a review, most likely feedback is 5 out of 5 stars. Because at the end of the day, most of your customers are satisfied. Once in a while, you will get a negative review. And sometimes it's justified because you made a mistake. We all do. Sometimes it's not. You might get a bad review saying, yeah, I bought the item and I didn't get it the same day. I had to wait until the day after. 1 star. And then merchants are like, no. You can do everything perfect, but there will be people out there who will still leave you a bad review. What you have to think about here is 2 things. First of all, everybody I talk to who's selling on the web are more scared of negative reviews than they really should be. Negative reviews are only hurting your business if there are no positive reviews and if you did not reply to them. If there are only negative, non-replied reviews, they will hurt your business a lot. But if you have a steady flow of positive reviews, a negative review will really only increase the trustworthiness of the rest of the reviews. I read a study on Amazon, and they said that when people are investigating whether they want to buy from a merchant or whether they want to buy a product, they want to know the bad things. And then when you see the disadvantages with the product, then you're like, okay, I'm okay with that. I know that this is not an iPhone 4S, but I can't afford it, so heck, I'm going to go with this, and it's not as cool, but okay. But they don't want you to show this picture perfect, we never do mistakes, because nobody believes it anyway. What they want to see is how do you react when you're making a mistake. So you have to think about that you're not only replying to the person that's reviewing you, but you're replying to everybody who's reading this review. And that's really the key audience. So my suggestion is to take a deep breath, swallow your pride, and then no matter what, say, very sorry it took us a day to send your items, here's a bottle of red wine, sorry. I honestly encourage that. I see a lot of merchants going into fights with online reviewers, where they for instance, we have some companies where they're replying, oh, but you forgot to read page 17 on our terms and conditions, and it says we're in our perfect right not to have the item on stock, and it's your own fault that you're going to wait 4 weeks, you could just have read it. That's not the place that people want to buy from. They want to buy from the place that just surrenders and says, we're sorry, even though the customer is wrong. And I think if you look at the number of people who are reading the reviews, there's an amazing return on investment on this. Second thing, again, like when you invite people to leave a review, personalize it. When you reply to the review, personalize it.
Yeah, I think the important thing to remember is that negative reviews can demonstrate how trustworthy your profile is. People want to know that negative reviews are not being deleted by the company. They want to see the full picture. And as long as you address the situation in a timely manner, I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would react to is like personal assaults. If somebody's saying like that one of your employees, he's going to come to his address or something like that, I would demand it deleted immediately, of course. There is a limit. But in most cases, write a polite reply and then go to point 3 here and say, we're really sorry, give them their contact details and then solve it in the private. Another interesting little fact here, what we see on our side is that most people are actually willing to give the company another chance. If you enter a dialogue with an dissatisfied customer and solve the issue, 2 out of 3 people are happy to edit their review. You might say it's unfair that the last third isn't going to change the review even though you help them, but that's life. In summary, I would say that your customers are using that no matter whether you're using it or not. So to give them the most correct image of your company, send an email invitation to them, ask them to leave a review, show the reviews in the Google Ads, show the reviews on Facebook, show the reviews on your website. Make sure you reply to all the reviews and then you will get a balanced, if you have a good service, then you will also get good reviews from your customers. So this was our message, and I hope people have a lot of questions.
On your site, on Trustpilot, is that anonymous still? Unlike GoGo.
It's not anonymous in the sense that there's not a no-name attached and it comes from just customer. A lot of business-to-business people also have answer from the business themselves, so to that degree it's half and half. But like Peter says, we're trying to drastically move away from that.
Yeah. If as a merchant you're inviting your customers to leave a review, then they're anonymous to the public, but they're not anonymous to you as a merchant. So that's the way we've done it today, is that other people will not know the identity, but you will. So that if you get a bad review, you can look it up in your system and say, oh, okay, I know what went wrong. But I think the trend will go to making everybody's identity public, either through a LinkedIn profile or through a Facebook profile.
You don't think that'll put people off?
I do.
Right.
If you would have done that 3 years ago, it would have put everybody off. Today, it will put some people off. In 2 years, It will put nobody off. And I think it's okay to have a little less reviews, but from real people. I think the biggest problem today is, I mean, honestly, like if you have, say, 500 reviews from nobody, I would switch that any day with 2 reviews from people I knew, or 50 reviews from people where I could see that they were real human beings, and not written by some outsourced company abroad. So it depends a lot on the way you do it, and of course, like we have some, you can sell some items that maybe people don't want to be so public about. So, so I think for some companies, yes, you should keep anonymity, but for a lot of companies, I really think the future is to show how people in your network.
Do you think it's open to abuse?
I think by removing anonymity, I think you have less abuse.
I was thinking about financial incentives, you know.
Yeah, but how, in which respect?
There's sort of a black market where reviewers almost become professional reviewers and are paid by...
Well, the thing is, you make that a lot easier if they're anonymous. You see that, for instance, on TripAdvisor, you had a lot of media attention about a hotel hiring 100 people on Mechanical Turk to go in and write reviews, and that's so easy because nobody knows who they are. And it's very easy to write, yeah, I wasn't so satisfied with the service level compared to the price, I think it should have been better, 2 stars. And who is this person? So whereas if let's say you left a review that were linked up to your LinkedIn profile, would you do that? No, you would never do that. Or
Would there be other methods of showing who people are rather than just Facebook?
You have. Of course, you could say that you have an order confirmation. So you have to communicate that in some way that people purchase from this company. Then you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn. But I do see Facebook, not today, but in 2 years, becoming your online identity. Or you could use it with, people could enter their mobile phone number. And you could link the person to a real identity in that way. But it's very costly.
Do you think in the future people will start reviewing like with video rather than typing, or is that something you've thought about for the future? Or?
I think for product reviews, yes. I bought a new MacBook Air. Here's my video review, and there are companies doing that already where you can buy that, and I think the product reviews. People are actually okay with the reviewer being paid or in some way incentivized to leave the review. But I still think it's going to be rather difficult to have video reviewing and make it unbiased of a company. Yeah, I loved it. It's the greatest thing, and you can see they're in this setup and they just got a maybe a gift card or something to leave the review. It's going to be very personalized, but I don't know how unbiased it will be perceived. Yeah.
We use Review Centre at the moment. Should you have an external link to a review site on your website or not?
I would always test it. That's my #1 answer. And you have to, the test we've done shows that an external link is a good thing. I'm not an expert in search engine optimization. Some people claim that if you have too many external links, it's going to hurt you. Then you can put a no follow on it, so then you're unaffected. But I would also look at like how much noise is there on the page you're sending people over to. I'm not sure with Review Centre, but on many sites you will really see that your reviews are next to 10 ads from all your competitors.
That's big.
and I don't know if you want to give them paid traffic that you're paying for.
The thing is, I think that we say reviews a lot, but what this is more about building and maintaining a whole online reputation and perception of your business, and reviews are just the medium that we now use to get this information. So I wouldn't look at it as individual reviews as such, but more the demonstration of your overall brand and how you want your customers to perceive yourselves. So it's about getting the exposure in these particular places.
No further questions? Well, thank you very much then.
Thank you.